I am going 6-0 in the division because the rest of the division sucks.
This is the best division in football, Tori. Take that step back. We are seeing the true quarterback that he really is, which he is not a very good quarterback.
Welcome to the Man Now, where we taking over. It's time to give you them facts. Won't miss a game or two, cause we here for you. Game or two, cause we reporting all of them facts. Hey, you listen to the Man Now, we taking over. It's time to give you them facts. Turn the speakers up a little loud. Won't miss a game or two, cause we reporting all of them stats. Because you listen to the Man Hour.
And Tori, my internet dropped right as we went live, so I'm not for sure what's going on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, I can't hear you apparently. Are you muted? What's going on here? Jesus.
Audio.
There it is. There's Tori back. Are we back on live? I'm not for sure what's going on here, man. All right, bye, buddy. I love you.
I don't know.
I don't know. But hey,
I love you. I love you too, but don't say that in front of Cindy to me. Jesus.
hey, I believe you can walk into any locker room you want and say that you love somebody. You're perfectly fine. But it looks like we're back live on it, like on everywhere here. We're just a little dated. I don't know what's going on here, Tori. I guess he doesn't want to go live on Sunday. But guys, welcome to the Man Hour here, Sunday edition, NFL Week 13. We are doing a live pick'em today. I'm going to give you all games today to pick. Tori's going to give you some fantasy advice. And guess what, Tori? We have a great sponsor over at Manscaped. Right here, guys. If you guys have not checked out the Weed Whacker 3.0, get that up in your nose, get that up in your ears. Check it out. But they gave us $100, Tori, today to give away in our pick'ems. So, guys, all you gotta do is Sunday games only. Slide into our DMs at facebook.com/manhoursports here. Give me who is going to win, and whoever gets the most of them right, bada bing, bada boom, you win $100. However, the caveat of it is you have to be active in the chat. We want to see at least 10 chats from you guys wherever you are listening at. And Tori, give me a tiebreaker game. What score from today's game is going to be the tiebreaker?
I think just because this is my shootout of the week, Jacksonville Detroit should be our tiebreaker game.
Okay, so on the Jacksonville guys and the Detroit game, give me the final score of that, and the person closest to the final score without going over will be the winner if there is a tie. Does that sound right, Tori? Sound pretty good?
That sounds right. I think 80 could be a good total in that game.
Sheesh. Yeah, but guys, it is easy money. Win $100. Brought to you by Manscaped here. Weed Whacker 3.0. Tori, do you ever get those nose hairs that just kind of wrangling?
I mean, I'm old.
Yeah.
Not that old yet. No, not yet.
Yeah.
I just yank them out. I'm
a hairy SOB, so I can literally trim, and 2 days later, boom, they're back. I don't get it. Just crazy.
I am not a hairy person.
I am a hairy person.
I have the legs of a 13-year-old boy.
I have hair.
There's like a hair here and there,
but on top of my head.
It's too busy. It's because it started from the feet up, and it just couldn't make it all the way to the top because it grew it everywhere else.
Started from the bottom. Now I'm about right here. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get into today's show. We only got about an hour here, so let's wrap it up here. Nice as shit here. So Tori, we're going to start with the first game that is listed on my website here, and that is Pittsburgh Steelers at the Atlanta Falcons. Give me a fantasy player to start and a fantasy player to bench here, and then I'll give you the winner of this game.
I'm going to go with starting Cordero Patterson. He's been a little quiet the last couple of weeks. He's due for a breakout game. Mariota looks more comfortable with each week. I mean, he played rather well last weekend. I'm going to go with Cordero Patterson this week just because the way he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a true dual threat for them. So I'm going to tell you, go with Cordero this week.
Okay, so you're going with Cordell Patterson to start. Give me a player to sit.
My same guy that we just talked about right before we went live. The guy I told you nobody should draft, and yet I still drafted him because, well, I'm a little slow on my own advice sometimes. don't start Najee Harris. He's banged up. Jalen Warren's banged up. Benny Snell might get the majority of the carries this week, just because the Steelers are not a good football team this year. Najee Harris is not the running back that he was last year.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm going to tell you, definitely put Najee Harris on the bench. I actually debated putting him in, and I said, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to leave Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce is another one that's not been doing well, so I left Dameon in.
All right, so he said start Cordell Patterson and bench Najee Harris. So do the exact opposite of him today. I'm totally kidding. But
I can't pick running backs this year.
Yeah. So as far as game picks for today, guys, I am going with the Atlanta Falcons at home. Just like what Tori said, the Pittsburgh Steelers are just kind of just that bad team this particular year. They just keep getting in their own way over and over and over again. And the Atlanta Falcons are sneakily really, really good at home. They are 4-2 at home this season. And even though they're 5-7, they're still battling for the NFC South. So if they win games they're supposed to win, like the Pittsburgh Steelers and like the Saints that are coming up in the Panthers, they could easily win this division now with like 8-9 because nobody seems to want to win the South. So I am picking the Falcons, and if you guys want to join the $100 giveaway here, you better pick the Falcons as well because I'm always right. I'm totally kidding. So Tori, moving on to the next game.
Just ask his wife.
Right. Let's not get into that today, Tori. Not bad. That's some bad juju. There's a reason why I'm out here today. I'm totally kidding.
I mean, that's kind of your second home.
Yeah, it is. It is what it is. So the next game up here on the list is a game that's going to be very, very near and dear to your heart, and that's the Green Bay Packers 4-8 taking on the Chicago Bears at 3-9. Give me a player to start in this game.
So many. With two really bad defenses going at it today. But just because everybody's going to expect me to pick a Green Bay Packer, I'm actually going to go with Justin Fields. Yep. Did you see what the Eagles did to other that defense last week? 363 yards rushing. Hurts had his way with that defense last week. I'm going to say start Justin Fields this week just because look at what Hurts did. Yeah. This is a team that has continually for the last 20 years struggled to stop any kind of mobile quarterback. Justin Fields could break his own little rushing record of 73 yards rushing. He could break that this week. I don't think he's going to throw the ball very well. The secondary for Green Bay is still very good, but I see him probably getting at least 2 rushing touchdowns today.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is no surprise, but Justin Fields is probably going to be the must-have started fantasy quarterback next season. He is definitely taking strides each and every day here. So give me a player to sit in this Packers versus Chicago Bears game.
So again, he's been hot. He's been probably on almost everybody's waiver wire pickup, but he's had 6 touchdowns in his last 3 games. That's pretty good. And that's Christian Watson. I don't think Watson's going to have the kind of game that he's been had. He has been red hot. Don't get me wrong. He has been red hot. But he didn't really do anything in that Philadelphia game until he busted off a 63-yarder for a touchdown. So I temper your expectations. I think Christian Watson might not be the start you think it is. I think Green Bay is going to attack that Bears defense that is not good against the run. And I think you're going to see a lot of Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon today.
All right, so there is your fantasy advice. Let me give you a pick 'em here, and I am actually, Tori, I am going to go with your Green Bay Packers. And I feel like Aaron Rodgers has been in this slump all season long, throwing interception after interception and thumb injury and rib injury and this and this and this. And I feel like this is a game that he's like, you know what? This is my last game of the season. I'm going to crank it up. I'm going to still own the Chicago Bears, and he's going to ride off into the sunset and then become a Dallas Cowboy next season. So I am picking the Packers this game for our $100 pick'em. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you like the Packers over the Bears, or are you going to stay with your homers? Or
I honestly, this game could go either way. Just because the defense has played so bad, and Philadelphia exposed a ton. Granted, Philadelphia has a lot better receivers than what Chicago does, so they may key on Justin Fields just a little bit more, play a little bit more man coverage. Because I mean, Darnell Mooney and St. Brown aren't striking a ton of fear into people, and Claypool's been relatively quiet since he's gone there. So it's not. I'm not super worried, but I don't know. Literally, this could be a coin flip. This is a demoralized Green Bay Packer team right now that's not used to being in this position. So honestly, this is kind of a gut check for them. And I would love to see them come out and play inspirational football and make it. I honestly, like, at this point, say screw it, don't win it, go for the draft pick.
Yeah. and this is coming from part owner. There you go. Screw it, lose.
Part owner.
All right, guys. So moving on.
Maybe that's one thing I should put on my wall. I should just put the certificate on the wall behind me.
Yeah, you're like your little 0.001% of the Packers that you own, right? All right, guys. So moving on to the next game here. This is the tiebreaker game. This is the Jacksonville Jaguars at 4-7 traveling to Detroit at 4-7 to take on the Lions over here at Ford Field today. And Tori, last night I couldn't sleep at all because it's Sunday. I just get excited, I guess. So I watched all of Hard Knocks for the Detroit Lions, and they put some what's the word? It's excitement into me. Like, it makes me not hate them as much right now. But give me a fantasy player to start from this Jacksonville Jaguars versus Detroit Lions game.
What? How can you ever hate anybody on the Lions? They're the lovable losers of the NFL. They're in my own division, and I cheer for them just because they are Detroit. And you should be excited because, one, they have a great leader on that team with Jamal Williams, and just because he was a Packer too, but he just kind of brings a different attitude. But a must start. He's kind of been playing second fiddle to Jamal Williams this year. Jamal Williams been the short yardage back. But again, I think this game is going to be a shootout. I think DeAndre Swift this week against that Jacksonville defense is going to be a must start this week. I feel like he's due for a really, really big game. I think it's going to be a nice little combo. Again, I think that this game, there's a number of players you could choose to start this week. And I would not say that you're wrong on probably any of them. So just because I think this game is going to be a shootout, except for the defenses, I would not start neither defense this week.
Yeah. So in a shootout type of realm, it is hard to sit somebody in this game. But give me a player to sit.
I'm going to say Jamal Williams then. Like, I'm going to kind of go just because I think Swift kind of fits this game a little bit better. Again, Jamal Williams is a short yardage guy, but I think this is going to be a game of chunk plays, not 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I think this is going to be a big chunk play game, and I don't think that Jamal Williams we'll see the production out of Jamal Williams that we've been seeing all year.
Yeah. Also, on the flip side of the coin, if you guys do have Travis Etienne on your roster, he did re-injure that ankle last week versus the Baltimore Ravens. They said he is going to play here, but how much is he going to be used? That's kind of up in the air
at that point,
a little bit.
Agnew's a good handcuff back.
Right. Now, as far as real life pick'em here, Tori, the Jacksonville Jaguars and Detroit Lions are both at 4-7 right now, and it is hard for me to pick against the Detroit Lions, but we saw what the Jacksonville Jaguars did against the Baltimore Ravens last week. But of course, anybody with a double-digit lead versus the Ravens will win that game 9 times out of 10. But in a shootout type of matter that you think this game is going to be, I got to go with the Detroit Lions on this one. I think they have a better high-powered offense, and their defense is used to giving up 40, 50, 60 points a game, right? So the Jacksonville defense is like, man, is this game ever going to end? And the Lions defense is like, oh, hell, let's just roll. This is what we're used to. So give me the Lions on this one. So if you guys don't remember here, this is our tiebreaker pick'em score here. So give me the final score of this game for any tiebreakers.
What's the over-under on that game?
The over-under is, let me pull up for you here, Tori.
I'm saying Detroit 42-38.
So Detroit is favored by 1 point, and it is not giving me the over-under here. Oh, here it is. 1 second, buddy. 1 second. Over-under is 55.
Oh, God. If you're a bet, take the over on that game.
51.
Don't matter. Take the over. That's low. I think this game could be that by halftime.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully for me, because I'm starting St. Brown today. So
I hope you fail miserably today.
moving on to
We battled
are we
for the
playing each
lead.
other today?
No, we're not playing each other, but
Oh.
we're still tied. It's 6-6.
Oh, isn't that awesome? 6-6 money.
Right?
Moving on to
and
the
we're
next
tied
game
for the
here,
division
Tori.
lead.
Moving on to the next game here, we do have the New York Football Jets sitting at 7-4, traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings at 9-2. Give me a player to start.
Which game are we on now here?
The
San
James,
Francisco?
sorry, no, the Jets
James?
versus
The James?
Jets versus Vikings.
Oh God. JJ's the obvious choice, but a running back that was probably taken pretty early in a lot of leagues too as well that you haven't heard a ton out of, hasn't done a ton though, is Dalvin Cook. They're going to double all of JJ all day long. That's a given. So I'm assuming Sauce Gardner will be on him most of the day, and Sauce for a rookie has played extremely well from the University of Cincinnati. Thank you, Cincinnati. Great football coach for Wisconsin.
Yep.
I will take that. So I would tell you, yeah, start him over like JJ, just because like I said, JJ is going to get bracketed all day long. It could single up Thielen, but again, Thielen's not the receiver he once was either. So
Yeah, I mean, obviously JJ has been the man all season long, but give me a player to sit.
I mean, I told you, if you listen to anything I say last week, if you follow us on our fantasy football discussion group, and I said, hey, sneaky good pickup and start this week would probably be Mike White. You probably should have listened to that. 315 yards and 3 touchdowns. So I would say Mike White, but I think almost I'm going to tell you any Jets player this week, sit them. That Vikings team is going to be too good.
Really?
That defense is going to be all over them this week. I actually think this might be a little bit low scoring game, just because both defenses are really, really good. So I would say any Jets player literally don't start. I know Knight, what is it? Knight is the running back now that the Jets are trotting out there. He's kind of gotten some buzz lately. I'm like, no, at this point, I wouldn't start anybody on the Jets. Sit anybody on the Jets except for the defense, just because Kirk Cousins can turn the ball over and does get sacked a lot.
Well, I mean, this is a 1:00 game, so Kirk Cousins is bound to have a great game, right? But
right, it's not prime time.
But with that being said, real life football here. Jets, they are playing inspired football right now, Tori. Since Mike White is in there, you saw it post game when they won last week. That team was like really, really hyped for the kid. And then last year, when Mike White did come in for like those 3 or 4 games, right, the Jets looked like a totally different team. And we thought going into this year that there was going to be a true quarterback competition between Zach Wilson and Mike White. So with all that being said, the Vikings are a really, really good team, but they also have some flaws built in there, meaning they cannot handle a ground and pound game, which I think that's what the Jets are going to do with Mike White today. So this is my upset special of the week, Tori, here, and I am taking the New York Football Jets to win over the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota, dropping them to 9-3. And people will be like, "Oh, is this Minnesota Vikings team overrated?" And I'm like, you know what? I told you so at the end of the day. So this is my upset special.
Is the coin flip still undefeated?
The coin flip still undefeated? I believe so.
I know. Because if whatever the coin flip says, that's where I'm going. Because the coin flip's gotten every game right, I believe.
Oh, really? I thought you were just
so the guy the guy that was it's a Jets fan before the season flipped a coin for every game, and the coin flip had been undefeated up until last week. I think he might have gotten it. I think they may have lost
for the Jets,
week.
Right? Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, for the Jets.
Huh.
I gotta see now because so the guy's like he has them losing. The coin flip says that the Jets are going to lose in the AFC Championship game.
Really? If that is the case, good God, all you experts, let me use that term very loosely, air quote experts, get out of here with that crap. If a coin flip can pick better than you.
So, you can't see it though.
Oh,
the
no.
coin flip finally lost. The coin flip finally lost last week.
Oh, did he? Okay. Well, I'm
Yeah,
picking the
so-
Jets this week over the Vikings in our upset special in our $100 pick'em giveaway here. So, Tori, moving on to the next game here. This is a really, really good division game, and I think the loser of this game will ultimately miss the playoffs in the NFC, and that is the Washington Commanders versus the New York Football Giants. Give me a player to start in this game.
Just because, again, with somebody we talked about pregame, he's starting to get quite a bit more carries now. It's somebody who I said at the beginning of the season, like, keep your eye on about midseason once he came back, and that's Brian Robinson Jr. Antonio Gibson's a little bit banged up. He's still their primary receiving back. So PPR, you're going to really want to monitor that, because right now Brian Robinson, like, I think he had 2 catches for 20 yards, but he had 103 yards and a touchdown on the ground. I think that was kind of his, okay, I need to be fed the ball more. And it's pretty much right now a 50-50 split on carries for those 2 running backs. So I think this is the week that Brian Robinson can kind of get things going against a very suspect run defense that the New York Giants have.
Yeah, that is a great point there, just because that is how you fight fire with fire, is running the ball versus the Giants. So give me a player to sit in this game.
I'm going to go with Daniel Jones this week. He's been steady. He's been consistent kind of all year. He's not been spectacular, but he's been fairly steady. And I think that this is the week. I mean, we got Chase Young back now. This is the defense now that I think that we saw 2 years ago that you're going to start seeing kind of really start to feast on people. So I'm going to tell you, sit Daniel Jones this week.
Yeah, and then bouncing over to real life football here. Like I said previously, previewing this game, is I think the loser of this game will ultimately miss the playoffs in the NFC, and I'm picking the Commanders to win this game. I don't think the New York Football Giants have what it takes to basically battle this great defense that the Commanders are coming back to from last season. Tori, this is the same team last season that you picked to go 13-3 or 13-4, and obviously Fitzpatrick got hurt first game of the year, which that kind of derailed that. But this is still a really, really good team, and they're getting hot right now. So look out for the Commanders. I'm picking them to win this game.
Now I'm going to take a buck take. Taylor Heineke next year will be a top 10 fantasy football quarterback.
I think you are 100% correct on that. He is. That team loves him, and I love him. I kind of want to get a smiley face tattoo right here, just like him. I think it'd be cool.
I love Taylor Heineke. Like, the guy's just kind of hard to hate.
Yeah. You know,
I'm an
hate?
underdog
Zach
guy,
Wilson.
though.
I hate Zach Wilson. That little troll.
That's not what you said. That's not what you said 2 years ago.
That's not what I said. Whatever. Moving on to the next one.
I was telling you, Zach and Mac are trash.
This might be one of the most intriguing games of the weekend in real life territory here. And that's Tennessee Titans traveling to the Philadelphia Eagles. This is kind of a private game all across the board for everybody in this game. But fantasy wise, give me a player to start.
I mean, your league MVP, Jalen Hurts. I mean, it's still a Tennessee defense that's good, but not with the amount of weapons that they have. I mean, Philadelphia's got playmakers at every level. It's a good defense, but they're built to, like, kind of play smash mouth football. And when you have a team that's going to run right by you, they're going to struggle. Like, this is more of a, grinded out defense, and they might hold them for a little while, but eventually that defense is going to get wore down, and you're going to see Jalen Hurts do what Jalen Hurts does. He's going to hit A.J. Brown. He's going to hit Devonta Smith. He's going to hit Dallas Goedert. You're going to see Miles Sanders out of the backfield, and you're going to obviously see Hurts go all over the place. This is a team that is very, very dangerous. I mean, we saw it last week again. Like, they just torched a very bad Green Bay defense. It's a team that literally any week can go and put up 40 points, and it's because Jalen Hurts has taken that huge step forward this year.
Yeah, he has taken leaps and bounds this year, 100%. I am totally on board with you on that. So give me a fantasy player to sit this, like in this game, in the Titans versus the Eagles.
And I'm going with King Henry. King Henry's production the last, 3-4 weeks has not been that great.
Yep.
Like, he's been held under 100 yards. I think he's only got 1 touchdown in that span. So I'm going to tell you, I would probably look at sitting King Henry. I'm not scared of Ryan Tannehill or any receiver on the Tennessee Titans. I am scared of King Henry. So who am I going to key on?
Right.
I'm going to make Ryan Tannehill try to beat me with Traylon Burks and Robert Woods. I mean, Robert Woods 3 years ago, all right, yeah, maybe, but not Robert Woods this year. So, I would say let's let Tannehill, beat us. Let's, probably play. They're probably going to play a lot of zone, and they're going to key on Henry. So I would say King Henry is a prime candidate to do absolutely nothing this week.
Yeah, and also on the flip side of that, on the real life side of things, what was the Achilles heels for that Philadelphia Eagles team was the run defense. What did they just do a couple weeks ago? They added Dominic Nasu to that defense, and this is his third or fourth game, so he should be game prepared now and game ready. So I have been kind of talking down on the Eagles all season long, kind of saying that they have flaws, and their flaws was their run-stopping defense. This week, they will prove that they fixed that, and I am picking the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game and a $100 pick 'em here. 1 second, dude. And that is cool. And I just think the Eagles right now are too good for the Tennessee Titans. Now, I do think the Tennessee Titans might make some noise come January, aka one playoff win like Lamar Jackson has, but I'm picking the Philadelphia Eagles in this one, Tori. Moving on to our next game, we have the Denver Broncos taking on those Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Tori, give me a fantasy player to start this week.
Russell, I'm just kidding. I can't even get through that statement without laughing. Obviously, I'm going with Lamar. It's a Denver defense that's actually still pretty good, but I say go after Lamar Jackson because Lamar's still going to have his way. Again, you're going to have somebody sitting and spy him. I don't think that the linebacker core for Denver is very good. And I still think that Lamar likes to make things happen, and he can make anything happen. So I would tell you, I think Lamar's in line for probably a pretty huge day, more so with his legs like usual than his arms.
Yeah, and this is a Denver team that just basically – they're ready to clock out this season because we've seen how frustrating the defense is getting with Russell Wilson and the offensive side of the ball. So give me a fantasy player to sit.
So, I mean, besides stating the obvious, it could be Courtland Sutton, who's still getting decent numbers, but still, like you just said, this is a team that looks like they've cashed it in. Like they're uninspired. They're like, meh, they're going through the motions. There is no fire to this team at all. None. They are beaten. They are deflated. They're egoless right now, which, I mean, usually isn't a bad thing. But when the whole team says absolutely nothing, that's not good either. So I would say any of the receivers, almost anybody on offense. I would sit, probably Courtland Sutton this week.
Yeah, so I have to tend to agree with that. And Micah over here on Facebook.com/manhour says, happy birthday, Russ. So this shows you how much the team hates Russ. Nearly half of the team did not show up to his birthday party this week. So this is definitely a right. Denver team that just they're kind of checked out. And I think this is one of the easiest pick'ems that we have for this week, and I'm picking the Baltimore Ravens.
What? I can't believe that.
Almost give it a lock, right? I mean, like it is what it is. Moving on to our next game.
If you got a knockout pool, pick that game.
Right. Moving on to our next game here. This could be possibly the most hype, unrelevant game of the whole week, Tori, and that is the Cleveland Browns traveling to Houston Texans. Obviously, Deshaun Watson is back, so give me a fantasy player to start.
I wonder if Deshaun will be relaxed before the game.
He should. There's those. I heard 10 or 12 females will be in the booth to check him out. So,
well, yeah. So the side note to that game, did you see that? Like the Houston Texans are like bringing in like 20 of the accusers to the game.
Stupid. Well, not the Houston Texans. It was the attorney.
That's what it was. The attorney.
Yeah.
I knew there was something. I just kind of saw it in passing, so I apologize that I misspoke there. Yeah, but it's like, come on. Again, this game could be great or it could be garbage. I mean, it's kind of two not great teams, and again, Deshaun Watson. As much as I like Deshaun Watson as a quarterback, I mean, he hasn't played in 700 days. I'm not going to tell you to start him. So I'm gonna go with the Houston Texans. I feel it. Dameon Pierce has not had a great couple of weeks. this is kind of like the little bit of a break I think that he's going to get, even though, again, Cleveland's not a terrible defense. They're not great either, but I think that he could do some things. I don't, are they still sitting Davis Mills this week?
I am, the last I heard, he is done for the season. So I believe so.
All right. So, which again makes Damian Pierce just a little bit more valuable,
Right.
because definitely with the backup quarterback, he's going to dump it off a lot more. I would tell you probably start Damian Pierce. I think Damian Pierce probably gets 5 or 6 catches out of the backfield, maybe runs for about 75 yards, probably 1 touchdown.
Yeah, and everything in my body wants me to pick the Houston Texans to win this game, Tori. Everything in my body, right? But Deshaun Watson is not going to allow the Cleveland Browns to lose to the Houston Texans. There is no way whatsoever. I don't know if he's going to get everybody massages after the game or go out and party or do whatever. But the Cleveland Browns are not losing this game.
I'm pretty sure as soon as he can get out of the locker room, he's probably on a plane out of Houston.
Let's hope so.
They may have just booked him a private plane just to get him out of there.
Don't even change clothes. Just be gone, my man.
Just go in your uniform.
But I am picking the Cleveland Browns to win this game. Let me write that down. But even though, like, everything tells me that the Houston Texans are going to win this game, but I can't bring myself to say it. So moving on.
I mean, the Browns still have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt last time I checked too.
Yeah,
So.
and Amari Cooper and People Jones and a really good defense.
And Njoku.
Yeah. So moving on to the 405 games here, Tor. We have the Seattle Seahawks taking on the LA Rams. This game kind of lost its muster, but give me a fantasy player to start.
Nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, again, a very, very, very banged up Rams team, and not a very good Rams team. I'm actually going to go with the Seahawks defense because you got no Matthew Stafford. You're starting, what's his name? Bryce something.
Yeah, he's
Not
the
young.
third string quarterback. No, it's not Bryce Young.
Bryce Perkins.
Yeah.
Bryce Perkins. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that. I actually had picked up the Seahawks defense. I'm starting them in my DraftKings this week. So I'm going to tell you, start that defense. That defense is going to be all over him. No Cooper Kupp, no Matthew Stafford equals a really, really bad Rams team that's going to probably get stomped on this week.
Well, we all thought that last week versus the Kansas City Chiefs too, but the defense kept them in the game till about the fourth quarter, and then they just got wore out because they were on the field for so freaking long. But give me a player to sit this week.
Cooper Kupp. Oh, wait. He's already out. Again, I would say probably Cam Akers, even though we don't really know what Cam Akers' role is with this offense because now I don't know. There's some other running back that they've been playing too that I've never even heard of.
Yeah, it's like a third string running back. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not real sure what the whole situation is with Cam Akers because it was Cam, we don't want you. We're going to trade you. Okay, we're going to have you back. Okay, now we're going to play you. Now we're going to back you up. And now we're going to cut Darrell Henderson. I don't know what the hell the Rams are doing.
Yeah.
I mean, their running back situation right now makes no sense. I would not feel comfortable starting any of their running backs. It feels like the New England Patriots 2.0 backfield right now.
Yeah, it's just like they're bringing in people that like off of the street. I don't know, what they're doing. But I am going with the Seattle Seahawks this week, Tori, for everything that you said, plus the addition of this. The Seahawks are in a must-win situation. Guys, we thought the Seahawks were going to run away with this division, and then hold my beer says Jimmy G, and the 49ers are right there, sitting in first place right now at 7-4. So the Seahawks are in a must-win situation right here, and I think they're going to win this division game. So give me the Seahawks in this one. Tori, who are you taking?
Seahawks all day long. Okay.
Like
I said, I'm going to take the Kenneth Walker will have a field day with that defense as well. So,
all right,
Gino's finally the quarterback that we all thought Gino might be.
He just smashed him back down to reality. He had his little spurt where they were talking about the contract expansion, him being like a $50-60 million quarterback. And truth be told, he's still just a $5 million backup. But it is what it is. Moving on to possibly, Tori, the game of the week here. This game people are hyping up. I said it myself, hey, this could possibly be a Super Bowl preview And it is the Miami Dolphins traveling to the San Francisco 49ers, faithful by the Bay. Give me a fantasy player to start this week in this game. Tons of them.
This is the tough one to pick because, again, two really good defenses and two really good offenses. It's the unstoppable force versus the immovable object this week.
Yeah.
But all in all, you have the two best receivers in the league playing on one side of the ball in Miami, like without a doubt. They're going to be able to spring open. Give me Tyreek Hill this week. I think Tyreek, maybe not touchdown wise, but Tyreek probably could have 11 or 12 catches, put up maybe like 150 yards receiving this week. I'm going to say go with Tyreek this week. Because if there, in my book, if there's one kind of Achilles heel of that Niners defense, it's their secondary.
Right. And unfortunately, they've been lacking pass rush, but Bosa is starting to get healthy again and starting to put a little bit of pressure on him, but we'll see how that translates into real game footage here. But give me a player to sit from this Miami 49er game.
I'm going to go with Debo this week. I would tell you to sit Debo just because, again, on the other side of it, the Miami secondary is really, 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 really good. And when he's lined up kind of all over the place, they're going to have somebody on him at all times, and chances are it'll either be a corner or a safety, depending on where he's lined up. Like if he's lined up in the backfield, he'll probably cheat a safety up. If he's lined up out deep, it's probably going to be a corner. There's going to be at least one set of eyes on him at all times trying to figure out where he was. And again, this is a very, very good Miami defense. So this could be a really, really, this is probably the game of the year, I would say. Yeah, far.
This is definitely going to be a really, really good game on the field. And picking wise, Tori, I've been going back and forth on this game all day long, all week long, but I am going to stick with the San Francisco 49ers because of a couple things that as you said here. The strength of the Miami defense is their secondary. But did we forget that the San Francisco 49ers picked up one of the best running backs in the league in CMC? They are going to give him the ball over and over and over again because that is one of the weaknesses of the Miami Dolphins, and that is a run defense. So I'm picking the 49ers because of the simple fact that the 49ers are going to play keep away. This is going to be a low-scoring game, 17-10, 17-13 type of score, and that favors the 49ers 100%. So give me the 49ers in this game. Who do you got?
Oh, it's going to end in a tie. Actually, I'm going the other way. I think it's going to come out like you said, it's going to be low scoring, but I think it's going to be like 17-10 like Miami. Okay. I just think just because Jimmy G does like to turn the ball over. And one of the knocks on Tua has always been he dumps the ball off, but he does it really well. Right. And against the really good front seven from the Niners, he's going to do it a ton today. And they've kind of mastered that. And when you've got Tyreek and you've got Jalen Waddle, two in the best of the business at making people miss, that's what you're going to do. You're going to see a lot of little quick slants. You're going to see wide receiver screens, maybe a wide receiver bubble, whatever it is. You're going to see a lot of that today because they're going to face a ton of pressure. So it's going to be a lot of dump offs and let your athletes run and let them make the play then.
Yeah, and Micah says Miami is going to lose today over here in the Facebook chat. Micah, I tend to agree with you on this one. Moving on to a next really, really good game here, Corey, and that is my Kansas City Chiefs traveling to the Cincinnati Bengals. Give me a player to start this week.
None. I hate this game. I'm just kidding. This is actually a really good game too. But, I mean, you can't go wrong with Mahomes in this game. Just because, again, the Bengals defense is not as good as they were. They've not played up to the level that they were. The big thing for them that might hold Mahomes back is their wide receivers are a little bit banged up. So but it doesn't seem to matter to Mahomes who he's throwing to. So I would say Mahomes. Again, other side of it too. Like I would tell you, Jamar Chase in his first game back too. It's just because, well, he's Jamar Chase.
Right. Yeah. I really like Jamar Chase in this game, 100%. So give me a fantasy player to sit this week.
I would go with Pacheco, just because, again, I think that this game could end up being a little bit higher scoring, and both teams end up abandoning the run. The difference being Joe Mixon's a little bit better running back out of the backfield versus where Pacheco is not quite there yet. I think next year is kind of where you'll start to see him kind of take over. But I would tell you, yes, put Pacheco on the bench for this week. If you got better options, put him in.
Yeah, there are a lot better options out there this week. So as far as real life game goes here, did you know, Tori, that the Kansas City Chiefs are 0-6 versus Cincinnati Bengals in the last 6 games and 0-3 just the last 2 seasons? Like,
did not.
It is rough, but
I know that they were 0-1 last year.
They were 0-2 last year because they lost during the regular season and then in the playoffs. But the Bengals do not have one of these championship hats, Tori. Do you see that? It says champions. And this is the Super Bowl for the Cincinnati Bengals, and I am picking them to win the game because this is their Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs could care less if they win this game or not. They just don't want to get blown out. So give me the Bengals and this one. Who are you taking?
I'm going with the Bengals for the reason I stated, though, just because the Chiefs wide receiver core is a little bit banged up right now. They're still going to put up numbers, but it's not like he has Tyreek anymore. So I mean, he's got I think is Juju out. Juju's out this week, I think.
I think he's back from concussion protocol, but I think he's still like on a limited basis.
Well, if they clear him, if he's a game time decision, if they clear him, I mean, obviously that gives them a little bit better idea of what to do. So, but I don't like it just because the core is banged up.
Right. So a question comes in through the chat here, says, is Mixon still hurt? I believe he is still hurt, but he is playing this week. From my
he cleared concussion protocol. Yeah. So he is a go this week. And again, like, I love and hate that guy every single week on my fantasy team because like he's been boomer bust all season.
Yeah. Well, really, all of the Cincinnati Bengals running backs have been boomer bust, to be honest with you. So moving on to this next game here, we have the LA Chargers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. This game is kind of just a snooze fest, but give me a fantasy player to start.
Just because he's finally healthy and he started kind of putting up numbers last week, Keenan Allen. You know, it seems like every week we find a way to work Keenan Allen into the discussion, one way or another. So give me Keenan Allen this week against a terrible secondary with the Raiders. Well, just an all-around terrible defense with the Raiders. So give me Keenan Allen. I again, the San Diego defense was predicted to be one of the better defenses in the league. They've had injuries, so they're not very good this year either. So give me Keenan Allen. I think Keenan Allen's gonna kind of be like, look, we're back and they're gonna make their push now to try to make the playoffs.
Yeah. One thing that as a Kansas City Chiefs fan, when the Chiefs and Chargers played last week, Mike Williams was that X factor. Once Mike Williams went out, like it was a totally different Chargers team after that. But the Raiders are playing some really good football right now, Tori, too, with 2 overtime wins versus the Seahawks and the Broncos the last 2 weeks here. So give me a player to sit on the fantasy side of things.
Look, I'm pretty sure we could go out and beat the Broncos.
Oh, come on.
And we're fat old men.
Well, even with like Tripp too, right?
Tripp at quarterback.
Yeah.
And us at receiver. Players to sit. Derek Carr, Devontae. Just because that's all they have.
Yeah.
I mean, when according to Devontae, he went from one Hall of Fame quarterback to another, and I don't see it. So I'm gonna lean a little bit more towards Derek Carr. Again, this is a little bit better defense than what they've been playing with. This is kind of a get right game, I think, for that San Diego defense, and I think you're going to see a little something out of them. And I think Derek Carr is going to get hit a little bit more and throw a couple of picks here, get hit quite a bit this game.
Yeah,
because his line sucks.
Yeah, like honestly, this is a playoff game for both of these teams moving forward because they are still battling for a playoff seed, and I am going to pick the LA Chargers in this game, much like Micah over here on the Facebook page. He is obviously entering in our $100 giveaway with the pick'ems. If my son would stop pushing buttons, if you hear random music. You know what's going on, but yeah, the Chargers with like Mike Williams and Keenan Allen getting healthy, the Chargers are getting right at the right time, and it's just this is the same thing that the Bengals did last season. They kind of fluttered through the first 9, 10, 11 weeks, Then boom, week 12 they turned it on and they got hot. So I'm picking the Chargers to win this game. But who were you picking, Tori?
I'm going to take the Chargers in this game just because I really want to see Devontae fail. As much as I love the guy, I love Devontae, but literally the thing that soured me was I went from one Hall of Fame quarterback to another. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Derek
You can tell
Carr
yourself
is
that
a
all
good
you want.
quarterback.
He's but he's not a Hall of Fame quarterback.
No.
He's not even close to a Hall of Fame quarterback.
He is not. So moving on to the final Sunday game here. I don't understand why they did not flex this game for a 49ers Miami game or a Kansas City Chiefs Bengals game, but it is the Indianapolis Colts traveling to Dallas to take on the Dallas Cowboys, the future Super Bowl team here. Give me a player to player to start in this game. I'm sorry.
Oof. This Tony Pollard, I would say. Again, we've started to finally see what Tony Pollard should have been the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of taken over that lead role. I think I said it last year, maybe even the beginning of this year too. Like Tony Pollard has been the better back in that Dallas backfield for the last 3 years. Actually, I was watching the NFL Network, and they had said that too, and they're like, "What we've been telling you for the last 3 years is that Tony Pollard is better back than Zeke." You're really starting to see it this year. He has gained the complete trust of McCarthy and Dak. So I think that he may carve up that team this week. I look for him to potentially have multiple scores this week. Again, big playability every time he touches the ball out of him.
Yeah, and to say that he's a better back than Zeke is tough to say because he has never really had to carry the workload all by himself yet in his career. But I digress from that. Give me a player to bench this week.
Just because he's on my fantasy team too. I mean, Jonathan Taylor still nicked up, still trying to get healthy.
Yeah.
Again, he's kind of been boomer bust this year, but I would tell you take a strong look at putting JT on the bench, just because again, this is a really, really good Dallas defense, and when they decide to bring it, they're almost unstoppable. I mean, look at what they did against the Vikings. I mean, that was a week after they lost to my Packers, but
Right. Yeah.
I mean that may have been a revenge. That would have been a revenge game of that's not happening again.
Yeah.
So I would tell you if you have other options, take a look. Put JT on the bench just because that Dallas defense is really good.
Yeah, and this is coming from a first overall pick, Jonathan Taylor, in most leagues here. So when you're benching their first overall pick, something is definitely wrong. But let's transfer over to real life football here. Tori, yes, the Dallas Cowboys defense is really, really good. But how do you beat this Dallas Cowboys defense is you run right at Micah Parsons. You don't try to beat Diggs deep. You don't try to nickel and dime him down the field. You give him to your power back and Jonathan Taylor, and you run at Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is probably going to be the defensive player of the year, but he does not play very good when people are running right at him for whatever reason. I don't know why. I can't answer the question, but when I look at it, he struggles when people run at him. So with that being said, the Colts are also playing some expired football as well. They like Jeff Saturday as their coach. I mean, he has gotten a lot of hell for not climbing the hierarchy tree and all this crap, but I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys to win this game. I'm picking the Colts just don't have enough firepower.
I mean, I was gonna when you said what do they have, I was gonna be like a high school football coach that's now running the NFL team.
Yeah.
Although there's another coach that just kind of transitioned from high school football that is now taking over a college football program. But I mean, that's at least a little bit more.
Are you saying the Cincinnati Bearcats are a high school football program?
No. So Trent Dilfer accepted a head coaching job for a college. I think I want to say UAB.
Really?
Yeah.
Aren't they like a historical black college too?
UAB? I don't think so.
But Deion Sanders is going to Colorado now.
Colorado.
Yep.
So
it is not about the bag,
which
but
is
$5
weird.
million.
I mean, the thing a lot of people don't realize, and I don't know, like in the 90s, Colorado was a powerhouse.
Cordell
So was
Stewart
Nebraska.
there. Yep.
Yep.
That was the Thanksgiving game to watch was Colorado versus Nebraska. The Friday after
when they
Thanksgiving,
were both
that
in
was
the Big 12.
that was a game to watch. So
Yeah, like those, like people forget that those still were two major powerhouses.
Yeah.
I mean, and at that point, you were still voted on. And I think they split the national title that year with Washington. I want to say it was
that was a little bit before my time.
the Washington Huskies.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Looks like we're getting ready to end the show because Chip just pushed the power off button. But guys, that is going to be it. Tori has given you all your fantasy advice to get here. Tori, let's do the Monday night game just for the people. Give me a player to start on the Monday night game.
Who do we got Monday night? My brain's fried here.
Saints versus Bucks.
Oh my God, what a terrible Monday night game.
Yep.
I will say Kamara. Give me Kamara to start. Just because again, he's kind of their Swiss Army knife, do it all. He can, again, a team that's a little bit banged up, they're gonna still roll with Andy Dalton and Taysom Hill kind of rotating in and out. Give me Kamara to start in that game because that Tampa Bay defense is very suspect.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So both boys are here now, fully closed. So we both lost our bet, Tori. But let's just go ahead and end the show here because we're good. They're going to start fighting here. There we go. All right, guys, that is it for tonight or for today. Get that easy money. DM me at facebook.com/Man Sports with your picks. And Tori, have a good week and go get that haircut, man. You're getting a little shaggy.
That'll be this